All right, Jesus Christ. I'm finally getting on here. I took a quick pause. Damn shit went to hell. Every time I was trying to get live, some technical horse shit was happening. So, if anybody stopped in earlier, I had to blur out my face because the way I eat tacos is fucking horrifying. I would say it's perverse a little bit. But let me get my actual screen up here. So, yeah. I've just finished up some paintings. I'll show off a picture of those here in a little bit. Because, yeah, they look pretty good. They're in my series of stuff, faces and whatnot. But I'm going to get, I haven't just drawn in a long time, so I think tonight I'm going to spend some time on a sketchbook. I went ahead and went through some Pinterest, saw some stuff I'm going to try to go ahead and sketch out. As you can see, I've got my big sketchbook. It's already got some stuff in it. Some of it you can barely see. I'm going to go ahead and see if the camera, there we go. That's a good lad. And I might have to think about my lighting up in here. Not quite sure though. But I am more than happy to go ahead and get some sketching done. Everybody's got to keep up with them basics. And for anybody that's here, I appreciate it. Even with my curmudgeonly way about getting down to business. So I'm just going to clear off a bunch of windows so I can actually pay attention to what I'm doing. It's alright. Hey, what happened? Oh, there he is. Mr. Weight Belt. It's very Hulk Hogan. Speaking of, I was watching wrestling earlier tonight, and AJ Styles came out for a tribute. And I think I want to actually do some figure poses first. Let's see if we've got some good resource for walking. Oh, we've got a lot of bodybuilders and shit. Female and male alike. Is this a board of mine? I think it is. Half the time I'm scrolling through here and I don't much pay attention to stuff. I just kind of habitually say, oh, I like this, put it on a list. Alright. Let's go ahead and see these Muay Thai gentlemen. Because that is a dramatic pose. See if we can at least get the essence of it. Because that's a tough one. Our poor little frosted mini wheats here just getting kneed in the stomach. Looks like he's hanging on for dear life. And rightfully so. That does not look pleasant. Hope everybody's Monday went okay. There's always something to be said when you can walk away from one. Ah, okay, that's why it looks short. Arms at a bit of an angle. And I'm not sure if I'm going to just say sketchy with this or if I'm going to tighten it up some. Maybe I should. I'm not sure. I'm having a hard time not trying to go to perfection on this stuff. But the more I draw into a little bit of detail here, the more I kind of sympathize with this poor fella in his little white booty shorts, because he is getting the shit need out of him. Alright, let's see if I can get this angle, because honestly, I'm not even really getting the picture on there. I'm going to have to make an adjustment. So, don't get too carried away. Alright, how's that view? Not too bad. Not too bad at all. There we go. We get a lot more on the page that way. You know, in a few minutes, if I get bored enough or I get too uber focused, we might go into some dramatic headlines. Nothing like finding out who the biggest douchebags in the country were today. See what kind of horrible shit ICE did. And I don't necessarily think that we should spend all our time obsessing over that. Ideally, we wouldn't. But I think that we are at a different time in our history when we cannot look away. Because the more we look away, so the more somebody's going to try to sneak the shit in on you. Yeah, that shit looks brutal. Okay, we gotta move this shoulder over a little bit. Ah, yes, I need a break. Earlier when I had the tacos, I neglected to mention that I have my apple soda. Manzana Sol. You took it!
Yeah.
That's alright. I would have drank it all. And I'm looking pretty small at this picture. Doesn't look like I can make it any bigger. Oh well, my mistake. Holy shit, there's a lot of detail there. Well, maybe I shouldn't obsess over the detail. I'm forgetting my own talking points here. And just make sure that I get in some kind of indication that this is a human. I don't know how human he is after getting kicked that hard. Because, yeah, it actually looks like his arm is getting put out of a freaking socket. Okay. I need my... Amira, do you see my white eraser over there on the desk? My white triangle eraser? It should be there with the pens and shit. I think. I hope. Hope I didn't drop it and one of the dogs chewed it up. Son of a bitch. Am I gonna have to go to the ghetto? I might have to use a pink eraser. Oh shit. Yeah. I don't got it.
I have a jelly eraser.
Well, that's fine, huh? I'll make a do. Yoch! Yeah, that's some harsh looking shit. Them's all start turning into bowling pins eventually. It does look a little bit short. Yeah, I think we're more down here. For what really ties the room together, so to speak. Yep. I'll know that I'm onto something if it starts to look as traumatic as it's suggesting. Some pens. So I'm actually going to grab the pens I was using earlier today. there's my favorite pen. Alright. Found my favorite pen, my Fude pen. This is one I got over at Hobby Lobby, but you can get it. It's pretty common. It's a Pentel, but I believe these are only made in Japan. Nice felt tip brush, but then on this end that's ultra fine, super detailed lines. I have other Fude pens, so I also have this one. This, if I remember right, is a Pentel, but this is more like a regular brush. So this brush has bristles, and so on this guy with the friggin' marvelous hair up here, that's how I did his stuff. So it lays down pretty good brush strokes. It can be a little bit uneven, but it does look a lot more like a traditional Japanese ink pen. Now this one has gray ink. It's the same type of brush. And so you can put in what looks like a gray wash in the stuff. Now you can build up, smear it a little bit, but it does do a pretty good watercolor effect. So you can make what looks like manga comics from the 70s, whereas this one, this is super clean. So this is good enough to even use for calligraphy, because it's got that thick to thin, and then it's got that super fine tip. You can do all sorts of cross hatching with it if you like. Well, let's quit fucking about. Let's go ahead and ink some. See how dramatic we can get this looking. Notice I'm taking a little bit of a liberty with the foot, moving it down some, but it just didn't look right being scrunched up the size that I had it. Oh, well, that's my mess up there. And all the way across instead of giving them shorts a vent. Go to skinny brush for a moment. I missed the detail of his little bicep tie thing. I don't know if I want to include his porn star mustache, but as soon as I mentioned it, it started going down. You know, the more I look at this picture, I'm not sure if I'm looking at the instant that that guy shit his pants. Because them ribs are pushed in. What do you want? What do you want? Alright, that's not so bad. Let's go ahead and lay into it with some of that gray pen I was touting earlier. if I can recover my fuck up a little bit. But not really. Oh well. Oh well. You can paint over it later. If I so desire. Maybe I want to leave it fucked up for everybody to see my mistakes. Maybe that was the intent. Now that I've said it out loud, nobody's gonna fucking believe it. And I just burped live. Deal with it. Shit. Alright, that might be enough of that. See if I can find an eraser to clean this up. Holy shit. I think I completely lost my eraser. I don't know how good this guy's gonna work. obsessed with my tacos. It's too busy thinking about them. Even after the fact. Ultra clean. I just want to see how it looks without all the blue structure. Kind of if it holds its own weight. Looks alright. I didn't want to get into the weeds over his friggin' homeboy shorts, but whatever. What time we got? 10:46 p.m. Pacific time. Not sure if there's anything else I want to do on this. Like I said, I've got projects coming up that I'm thinking about doing. Holy shit. Well, if that isn't fucked up. Alright, we're going in. Amira. Look at this picture of this guy's face mid-punch. Do you see that shit?
Where did his teeth go?
I think he swallowed them. Look, his whole face turned into like a basset hound. Just, you can't look cool with tattoos when that shit happens. Poor fella. That's the profession. Alright, let's see what else we got. Okay, we got some basics. I just saw that, the fighter's pose. I really like this pose right here. I can't remember this fighter's name. I swear to God he's prime time. But then again, how close attention do I pay? Because, well, Dana White's involved, so I steer clear of that. Don't know if anybody remembers that asshole slapping his wife in front of a bunch of people when he was friggin' wasted. But I can show you the footage if we need to remind you. Yeah, that sounds about right. And what the heck happened? Oh, it looks like my chat is down. Huh. Well, that sucks. That wholly sucks. I may have had chats during this whole time and not even known it. That's horrible. I would have ignored all 2 people that may be watching. But I think this drawing stands up pretty well on its own. All right, I'm going to get it out of the drawings for a moment, because I think we need a bit of a distraction. Yes, that's what I think. So I'm going to take a look around real quick. Meh. got a top fans icon like I'm friggin' some kind of OnlyFans creator and shit. Is that just a regular rubber bouncy ball?
Yeah,
Oh.
I found it in the egg thing.
In the what?
This.
Oh, okay. Alright, I better find something quick. So I'm bringing up my good old trusty YouTube, of which I am broadcasting on right now. But I gotta get my keyboard so that we can do a little exploring for a couple of minutes while I decide what to draw next or whether to call it a night. I don't know. I'm not receiving any chats, so I don't give a shit. Well, of course I do. How you like them apples? Yeah, we got the history here. We got the deets, just to remind people in case they forgot, you know, put it out there. Let's do like this. It'll be a nice little reminder for the masses. Should be interesting. Yeah. So let's give her a quick look. So, this is all sorts of misleading. Dana White's wife slaps him, or he slaps his wife. Holy shit. That came up really friggin' weird. It's like halfway done. Not quite. Honestly, probably have too many damn sources. Yeah, I think it's safe to say I have like way too many sources. Alright, we'll just tuck that away for a while. At least I know what window it is now. But I'm going to go ahead and fix this screen really quick, so I don't look like an absolute hack. There we go. Let's get that on. Yes, how nice. Alright. Let's see what the hell.
Dana White was enjoying the night of the New Year's Eve when he got in a heated argument with his wife, which eventually turned into a public debate. His drunken wife slapped him first, then in return, the intoxicated Dana also slapped her back and held her hand. Someone secretly recorded their video, which went viral. Thereafter, he gave an interview and explained that he was sorry for his action, and said that there cannot be any excuse to hit a lady by a man. Dana White was enjoying the night of the New Year's Eve when he got in a heated argument with his wife, which eventually turned into a public debate. His drunken wife slapped him first, then in return, the intoxicated Dana also slapped her back and held her hand. Someone secretly recorded their video, which went viral. Thereafter, he gave an interview.
Not sure about the little sound effects they added. Alright, well, sounds like it's time for us to get into a little bit of that dramatic newsreel action. Musk stole the election, you guys. That's what it's saying. How dramatic is that? As much as I'd love to play music that is copyright protected and shit, I don't got that amount of swag. I can't do it. It won't let me. Matter of fact, I think I got muted a couple times already for copyright stuff. But I mean, you know, full credit to the guys I'm using, I guess. You know, Luke Beasley and shit. These guys are very dramatic. I like it. You've got a tie in the main race. Oh my God, the fisherman's going to take it. But let's see what Keith Edwards has to say on this matter.
And of course,
how dramatic can we get?
Of course, it is them who are doing it. We also have here a Trump fan raging at Donald Trump, and James Tallarico, the Senate candidate in Texas, going viral for the best reasons. Let's get to this guy first. I'll let Harry Sisson take it from here.
So it's going from Keith
fan
Edwards to
rage and completely abandoned Donald Trump over his tariffs being deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has ruled that Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional. Golden Age update, guys. We've got nothing. We might have to pay back $150 billion to other countries and nations and businesses. Meanwhile, the American people have been screwed this entire time as prices have went up on the tariffs, and now it's been ruled unconstitutional, but we may be having to pay it back.
Is that his
This
real
administration's
voice?
a joke. It's over. This administration is an absolute travesty. We've got nothing. No mass deportations. We've got no actual release of the Epstein files. So many more to go. We have no tariffs. They're unconstitutional now. So everything you voted for is a complete lie.
Man, I love when I come across videos like this. MAGA fans finally realizing the truth, that Donald Trump is a complete fraud, a total failure, and he's backtracking on all of the promises he made to them. I gotta be honest, I don't know why this thing in particular is the one that pushed him over the edge as opposed to Donald Trump's many other scandals or failures, but he's not happy. Trump's term has been a complete disaster. His fans are even admitting it, and I expect to see more videos like this as his term goes on.
This is definitely just the tip of the iceberg. I know for sure that the temperature is
It's going
breaking
up
on Trump and MAGA, and the fact that everything Donald Trump campaigned on has not
wait, who
happened.
the
This
fuck?
as his realizing the truth.
Immigration is an absolute travesty. We've got nothing. No mass deportations. We've got no actual release of the Epstein files. So many more to go. We have no tariffs that are unconstitutional now. So everything you voted for is a complete lie.
I like everything's breaking fucking news. By the way, that was a Lollipop Guild ass voice. What the hell is going on there? Do castrati exist again? Because it's worth exploring if you're into the opera. Which this piece is not opera. I wonder if I should do opera, but I think half of it is copyright striking my ass. So, god damn it.
Man, I love when I come across videos like this. MAGA fans
I have to
finally
make original
realizing the
shit.
truth that Donald Trump is a complete fraud,
And
a
that
total
guy's skin is
failure,
way too
and his
good. I think
This is
it's 'cause
definitely
he's 20.
just the tip of the iceberg. Especially the Epstein stuff. And meanwhile, they're seeing prices remain high and see Donald Trump and his buddies make more money than ever. That is not going to be able to hold. It's not going to be able to hold. Now, another thing that has happened is that Elon Musk was caught committing voter fraud in Georgia. You might remember that Donald Trump sent the FBI and Tulsi Gabbard a couple of weeks ago to Fulton County to find election fraud. They actually
Tulsi
stole
Gabbard.
ballots in order to create evidence that doesn't exist to show that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Meanwhile, we have actual evidence of Elon Musk doing that. Here's the report. Members of the Georgia State Elections Board voted Wednesday to issue a formal letter of reprimand to Musk's America PAC over the billionaire technocrats' illegal scheme to get Trump elected. Georgia, a key battleground state in 2024, was the target of aggressive campaigning by Trump's team. In October 2024, the Georgia Secretary of State's office launched an investigation after receiving numerous reports from residents across several counties saying they'd received partially pre-filled absentee ballot applications from Musk America PAC, according to John Ferber, the State Elections Board chairman. Now, there was evidence to suggest America PAC had violated a state law that prohibits any person or entity other than an authorized relative to send an elector to absentee ballot application pre-filled with the elector's required information, according to Janice Johnson,
All right.
the
Come on,
SEB's
man.
vice chairman. America
sorry,
PAC
Keith.
had also failed to display
I love you, but
in
this
a
is-
conspicuous location that this was
and this
not
is
an
would-be
official government
bombshell
publication,
news.
was not provided by.
But we need some old-timey news guy voice on that, I think. So, I don't know, maybe we need to go to take you to radio school, bro. I think that could help. Something I did a long-ass time ago that I never got a fucking job out of. Well, I did once, but it was a college station. And it was I was way too old to be around college kids. It was like, shit. Well, I guess nobody showers. So, yeah, Elon Musk, I guess, stole the election. MAGA snowflakes melt down over Mamdani. Mamdani is fucking with people. For real. They don't know he's just he's a little democratic socialist. And they're losing their shit. And then, I don't know, this is a little bit... Kash Patel caught in a major Olympic scandal. If it's just him drinking champagne like a douche, I don't know how much of a scandal that is. Not in this administration. Like, bro is in a hockey sweater that is 9 sizes too big for his midget ass. And I'm sorry I said midget. Little peoples. And that's even an insult to little people. 'Cause Kash Patel fucking... I don't know. Apparently he thinks he belongs in Valhalla. Ugh. Oh, so lovely. But I digress. Somebody else. What is this? Resignation bomb as affairs? Scandal helps? What? I think I better find it. This is probably misleading too. That's one thing I don't like about these YouTube videos is it's like breaking. And look at this. Panic at the Capitol. Crash. Trump crashes everything. And I'm missing out on like one of the best scenes in John Wick 4. But I am so distracted right now, it's not even fucking funny. So I'll just go with this Boebert, and then after that we're going to get to
Mike Johnson has an impossibly small majority in the House of Representatives, and Lauren Boebert just dropped a bombshell on him to make it somehow even smaller. And it comes as Mike Johnson is not only staring down a midterms disaster that's looming, but also there's a disaster in the current House of Representatives. The MAGA Congress is infighting all across the place. You see fights over tariffs, fights over healthcare, fights over every part of Donald Trump's politically toxic agenda that is bringing them all down and leading them to fight each other. But it is one Republican who is causing more problems than any other and leading Lauren Boebert to speak out and drop this bombshell. It is Tony Gonzalez, who, if you have not followed, is currently dealing with one of the most upsetting, uncomfortable, and disturbing scandals we have seen from a member of Congress in a long time. This is truly gross stuff from a truly gross Republican. It is what is leading Lauren Boebert to her bombshell. So before we get to that, we have to start with the latest news in this story. Texts reveal Predator MAGA reps sorted request of aid. Too far, boss. The Donald Trump endorsed congressman told his aide he is a visual person and pressured her to sext him. Republican Tony Gonzalez pressured an aide to send him a sexy pic and asked her favorite position despite her protest that he was taking things too far, new messages reveal. Text released Monday provide new insight into the affair between Gonzalez, a married father of 6, and his one-time regional district director, Regina Ann Santos Ivales, 35, a married mother of an 8-year-old boy. Santos took her own life in September after her husband, Adrian Ivales, learned of her affair with her boss. Now the widower is going public with his late wife's text to fire back at Gonzalez, who tried to dismiss the horrific situation as blackmail meant to unseat him. A text thread shared with the San Antonio
That's
Press
fucking horrible.
shows that Gonzalez texted Santos Ivales just after midnight on May 9th, 2024, "Send me a sexy pic." Santos responded that she was having a rough week and you don't really want a hot picture of me. That did not dissuade Gonzalez, who wrote back, "Yes, I do, and hurry." Santos still refused. "No, I just don't like taking pictures of myself. I'm just a visual person," Gonzalez answered. The congressman continued to press Santos to sext him, the Express News reports. He asked her what her favorite position was, described one he wanted to try with her, and even after her initial refusal and warning that this is going too far, boss, still asked, "What do you like?" Santos self-immolated outside her home in Uvalde, Texas in September, a year after her husband learned of her affair and after she had been ostracized by Gonzalez staff at work, alleges an attorney for Ivales. Santos did not have a college degree and began working for Gonzalez in 2021. A former aide to Gonzalez alleged that the politician did nothing when he was informed of Santos Ivales' declining mental state. Since the shock suicide, Gonzalez has gone to great lengths to dodge and ignore any claims of an affair between him and Santos Ivales. He has outright said any suggestion of a relationship was untrue. A truly disgusting individual who represents so much of what the Republican Party is under Donald Trump. And I can imagine, with all of this news coming out, I'm sure you can imagine when Mike Johnson was asked, the man who never knows and didn't see that and was unaware of this story developing. What do you think he had to say before Lauren Boebert stepped in?
Tony Gonzalez resigned, given these very serious accusations. there are serious accusations, and it must be taken seriously. And I've told him he's got to address that with his constituents, and he's in the process of doing that. Is my understanding. There's an investigation in the state of Texas on these matters, and has been going for some time. And the Office of Congressional Conduct has also, it's been reported. They've been looking at it. And all of that was news to me. But I think, as in every case like this, you have to allow investigations to play out and all the facts to come out. I've been intellectually consistent about this. Whether you're talking about Republicans or Democrats, you have to let the system play out.
Oh, I'm not really sure. Let it play out. We don't know yet. There's no road, is what Mike Johnson, the Christian, has to say. The Family Values Party is fine with a married man acting in such disgusting behavior and so ostracizing and attacking his aide that it leads her to tragically take her own life.
She fucking self-immolated herself.
And now this disgusting Republican is saying, oh, this is just an attempt to unseat me, as if you were so important.
So, just in case somebody doesn't know what self-immolation is, she lit herself on fire. She burned herself to death. That is a fucked up, painful way to go. And that's how she chose to go. Like, of all of the hundreds of thousands of ways, it would have been less painful to get hit by a bus, run over by a train. She chose to burn herself alive. That is fucked up shit. So that was a new level of shame, mental anguish, something. That is fucking horrible. Yeah, so there's a new piece of shit on the radar. And it just always seems that when these politicians start going down, why is it always because they're a fucking horn dog? It's like sex, drugs, money. That's it. Like, they'll break laws for all three of them. Yeah. Yeah. I would say they need to get fucked up, but they would probably enjoy it. Probably pay for that shit.
You sleazebag. It is disgusting.
Yes.
And the fact that Republicans have said nothing shows you everything you need to know about their party. But one actually did, surprisingly. Lauren Boebert with a bombshell call for his resignation. Just in, Lauren Boebert demands fellow House Republican resign amid growing scandal. Representative Lauren Boebert called on Rep. Tony Gonzalez, a Republican, to resign on Monday, hours after 24 Sight News reported on inappropriate text messages that he had sent to his aide, Regina Santos, a former staffer who took her own life last September. The new messages in which Gonzalez asked Santos Avelis to send him a sexy pic and fantasized about, I'm not even going to say that, were produced less than a week after another former Gonzalez employee who described himself as Santos' best friend told the San Antonio Express that Santos had admitted the affair to him and that she has been battling depression ever since her husband found out about the relationship, causing the congressman to abruptly cut her off. The staffer also produced text messages in which Santos admitted to the affair. Gonzalez has repeatedly denied the allegations that he had an affair with Santos Avelis and blamed last week's story on the primary opponent in a statement. At least one of his colleagues is not convinced of his innocence, though. Lauren Boebert called on Gonzalez to resign after the publication of the incriminating text messages. As we can see, Lauren Boebert dropping a bombshell, the first Republican to tell Gonzalez to resign. Boebert's demand is notable given the fact that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and the GOP command the smallest majority in nearly a century. If Gonzalez were to resign, it would shrink further to 217 to 14 with 4 vacancies. The tight margin of error is particularly, I should say, notable, given the fact that some Republicans, including Don Bacon and Thomas Massey, have proven willing to defect and vote with the Democrats on a myriad of issues. This is truly a sick and disappointing doesn't even cover it. It is a disgusting story and just goes to show the abuse of power that so many in our government are fine with. You know, I played that clip of Graham Plattner talking about how the wealthy elite in this country view themselves as essentially nation states, that they can operate on the global stage in a way in which the rules that govern their nation or our entire world do not apply to them. But that is clearly how so many in government view themselves as well, that they are above the law, that they can do whatever they want, that they are so special and important, viewing themselves because maybe of the rise of Donald Trump more like celebrities than public servants. You know why these guys love going to, the Melania movie and, Donald Trump making the White House a whole big show. It's because they want to be celebrities. Pete Hegseth acts like a celebrity, not our Secretary of Defense. Kristi Noem dresses up like a celebrity, like a poorly styled celebrity with too much Botox in her face. But these people, they think it's dress up, it's fun, it's playtime, it's not service. They don't view this as service to us. And it's clear in their actions that they don't. This is disgusting. The fact that Lauren Boebert is the only person calling for this resignation is disgusting. But as I always say, always disgusted, never surprised, right? There's nothing surprising about this. It's disturbing. It's not shocking. It's not. This is the behavior that we have come to expect from the pro-family, Christian, family values, traditional values party that MAGA purports to be, with a felon who was having an affair with a porn star while his third wife was pregnant. When that person is in charge of your party, it is no surprise that you're going to have scumbags fill it. And really, just the most upsetting thing. I don't want to
take
say
him
most
getting
upsetting
there to
thing,
make
'cause
that
everything was
happen.
upsetting. But is the fact that these people view themselves as so self-important. And I know it's a deflection.
In years
it's
past, he would have been
communications
fucking
tactic,
gone.
but really, it just admits so much. To say, well, this is my primary opponent trying to kick me out of Congress. Do you think you matter? Like, you are the cog in the machine. It should not be us. We should focus on making our lives feel a flourish. That the government should be there to provide the basic necessities so that we can enjoy and live and create and be free. You should be the cog in the machine of government that makes sure that we are taken care of, that the roads are paved, that people have health care, that houses are built, that the social security checks go out on time. You should not view yourself as this all-powerful, all-important celebrity, machismo representation of, no, you're just a fucking guy. And you're apparently a really shitty guy. So Tony Gonzalez, he should resign from Congress. Good on Lauren Boebert for consistently, it's been a lot of examples, having a spine and calling out the disgusting people in her party. Really good on you, Lauren Boebert. Wouldn't take the shit, wouldn't take the pressure from Donald Trump. I respect that. I do just have to say that. I absolutely respect what she's doing here. And of course, it's sending Mike Johnson into a panic as he's staring down a midterms disaster that only looks like it's getting worse.
Well, new this morning, on the eve of President Trump's State of the Union address, a new CNN poll points to...
Well, problem with all of this unpopularity and shit rolling downhill, I think this mofo is going to, and I hate to say it, but he's going to start some shit with Iran. Like, that shit is gonna happen on the eve of midterms, like that week, that month, something that is in time for him to, because he's already vocalized that, and I can't remember which leader it was, but they canceled their elections because of a war. And it wasn't because of Zelensky, because he was talking shit about Zelensky, even though it's in their constitution that during wartime there are no elections. But Captain fucking Fish Hands, his goddamn teeny flippers, was expressing a keen interest in that, and that tiger looks like fucking nothing like the picture yet. I guess that's why I gotta keep working it, for fuck's sake. But yeah, I think that's his new thing that he's planning for midterms, because I think he's gonna realize that just sending ICE out to intimidate people is not gonna be enough. So, because that's not enough, he's going to go ahead and quadruple the fuck down and either just outright attack or provoke some kind of a response from Iran. And yeah, unfortunately, I think that's the way his mind is working. And Congress, I would like him to grow some fucking nuts at least one day this week. And people to get some goddamn sense. You know, if these Democrats ain't going to do it, they need to be voted out too. Like, we've got better reps that are waiting in the wings that are not getting a shot because the Democratic establishment tries to push them out. And that happens with a lot of dollars from places like AIPAC. I mean, they had no problem throwing attacks at, sounds like Gunter's on the way. It's Imperium. I really got distracted there. But yeah, I think, you know, aside from my rant, that's what that asshole's going to do. He's going to declare war. Oh, nobody can take care of this but me. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Our soldiers need to be over there. He's going to throw a bunch of fucking boots on the ground and waste billions of dollars on some unnecessary shit just so that there can be a big enough goddamn distraction and some tiny lever that'll allow him to not have elections, so that he can possibly suspend certain things enough to stave off what is going to happen inevitably, because he just doesn't, you know, want all of the files to come out, because all of the files are going to paint even more when just even what's been released paints enough. And Department of Justice isn't going to do shit on his watch. And so far I'm seeing that this Congress is not going to go after Pam Bondi like they should. Even though she's like, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? The Dow, the Dow. A la verga. And so that's what I think is gonna happen. Luckily, I'm too fat for draft, too old for draft 2. But she's going to do that. Or he's going to do that. And all those little sycophants are going to line up. And they're all going to tell him, you know, he'll have one of those friggin' round table discussions where they're all licking his ass. Oh, Mr. President, I just have to tell you that since you've taken over, my kids are sleeping better and my blood pressure is down. My dogs, they don't even go inside anymore. We've been able to get rid of all the mats. And, you know, my father was going to have a heart procedure, but now he doesn't need to because you've improved his health so much, Mr. President, by just being such a good American. Nobody believes you diddled kids. Yeah, fuck that shit. By the way, I'm drawing a tiger. Let's go back to Horst.
Drop my taco.
No, thank you. just put it in the fridge. We will deep fry it tomorrow.
Good night. Love you.
Love you. Oh, Trump, your poor little approval ratings. All right, let's see where we can get with this. Lauren Boebert's exposing shit.
To the enormous challenges ahead
Well, not really
for him
exposing
and
shit.
Republicans heading toward the midterm elections. Look at this. Only 36% of all U.S. adults approve of Mr. Trump's job performance. That's down 12 points from a year ago. 63% say they disapprove. CNN senior White House reporter Kevin Liptak is here with us. Kevin, you've been looking more closely at this 4 new issues the president faces. What are some of the important trends right now?
Well, the trends are all going downwards. Certainly we saw that downward trend in the overall approval rating. That's the lowest point for the president heading into one of these yearly State of the Union addresses in both of his terms. But it's also sort of a historic low for any president this century at this point in their term. So these are significantly weak numbers. And I think what is driving it is the independents. When you look at how much the approval among independents has really dropped off. Last year, the president was down 13 points among independents. This year, he's down 47 points among
Holy
independents.
shit.
So 26% approve, 73% disapprove. I think anytime you're that far underwater among independents, your overall approval rating, you just can't recover from that, essentially. And when you look at all of these other demographics, where the president has actually traditionally done fairly well, you can also see what is driving these approval ratings down. So, for example, men. Clearly, that's traditionally a strong point for the president. Last year, he was at 54% among men. Now he's at 40% among men.
Thought he said
Mike
meth.
Johnson could lose his gavel before we even get to the midterms, but I promise you he is going to lose it after. Now, of course, that is taking into account that our Democratic leadership actually puts in place, a little work to make sure that we don't have ICE agents running our polling locations. That would be fantastic if we could get on that. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know. But we are going to blow them out in these midterms. I'm going to be excited when Tony Gonzalez loses his seat. Hopefully goes to prison. Just disgusting. We're going to keep calling it out. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If
It'd be
you stuck
nice
around
if
the video,
Schumer
leave a
could
blue
be
heart in the
fucking
comments.
down.
Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let him silence you. Until next
Honestly,
time, I'll see you soon.
Jeffries might need to be left behind too. Because they sure stand on business, except when it comes to not voting to give a shit ton of arms to a country that genocided brown people all over the place. It begins with an I. Scandals. Look at all the scandals. I'll fucking kill you. Our Dims are winning. I don't think they should be celebrating a whole lot. We shouldn't. Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that liberals like, is the righteous indignation. But I'll admit it's frustrating when you're arguing with somebody who clearly they have decided that the idea of a country is the one that they were sold. By a bunch of people who can afford to buy people. All right, let's get some brush work done here. I want to see how this bad boy is going to look once I start inking. And we could do us a little bit of news while we're doing that. New footage of what? Epstein disaster. I will fucking kill you. That's the second time. Les Wexner. Let's see what's empty seats everywhere. Is tonight his State of the Union address? It might be. Democratic traitor. Yeah. I could probably pick out who that is. But we shall see. What's the other? James Tallarico. Where's my dramatic newsreels? Well, this is good music for searching shit. We should talk. Brian Tyler Cohen and Hassan Abi? What the fuck was that? Hey, come on, man. Take me back to that preview. Oh my god. No! What the fuck? Alright, I'm screenshotting that, bro. DIY balloon flower vase. What the shit? That is getting screenshotted. Come on, just do this screenshot, please, por favor. Snip tool, where did you go? I missed you so much. Alright, thank you, Snip tool. Yeah, that's going out. I'm sending that out on a post. Jesus Christ. Well, boys, looks like we're packing it in for the night. Shit. Oh, Eric Dane. Oh. Yeah, I'm not watching that shit. Can't afford to get emotional these days. Right, where's the dramatic newsreels? Sasha Grey. Who the hell is this? This looks, yeah, I don't know how much I should get into the Epstein stuff because, as I said earlier, I don't want to be, like, consumed by this shit. But the fact of the matter is our government representatives are not doing anything. They are absolutely letting this go and trying to make it business as usual because it is going to be uncomfortable as fuck to deal with that shit. Because there are people among them that they are going to have to string up without a fucking doubt once that shit gets rolling. And from what I've seen in the files, the god-awful things just from snippets. Like, they didn't quite know what the dental chair was for. And then they found out. Because it is much easier to control a child when they can't bite. How fucked up is that? Like, yeah, just the fact that Bondi said, well, if you start investigating everybody, we're not going to have a functioning government. Okay. Case closed. Let's fucking turn on the meat grinder. Jesus Christ, lady. Speaking of just red lentils and spices, that's it to get this wonderful, not bologna log. It's completely plant-based, gluten-free. That kind of goes with that picture that I saw earlier. God damn it, I'm taking another screenshot. I'm such an asshole. I'm so ashamed. I'm drawing a tiger. I'm talking about probably the biggest fucking political scandal that the world has ever seen since like Tammany Hall. But I mean, even that, how much of the fix was in? Because we've got the president's main donor from this last election tried to throw him under the bus after they had their little hissy fit, and they're clearly frenemies, as the Mean Girls go. But tried to sound like the cool kid. Oh, we're not gonna blah, blah, blah. I didn't even want to go. I didn't even want to go to the island. I never wanted to go. They asked me to go. And guess what? You fucking begged to get over there. And what happened to friggin' Elon's ex spilling the tea on she had video of him getting pegged because he begged for it? He was begging for pegging. What the fuck? And he's in the Epstein files, too, after he tried to throw Trump under the bus for it. Smoke, there's fire. The rigging is happening, baby. These guys, none of them want to go down. And when billionaires who have billions upon billions of dollars, which, that's... I mean, how much money is at stake for even people who weren't involved with Epstein at all? They were just involved with the investors and the, hedge fund managers and these brokerages that had, the firms that had like one high up guy that was involved with Epstein. And he obviously catered in more than kids and money. But yeah, that shit's dirty. And so hoarding wealth and then saying, well, you guys need to make do with less. By the way, how are your kids? How much will they cost? And if I just said that and you felt like a twinge, good. Because these are motherfuckers that you have to understand that obscene wealth, the key word there is obscene. The rich are different. They'll pay for people to do shit just to see them do it. That's where it's at, man. What's that? I forgot I have soda. Just as my mouth was dry from ranting. saving my balloon. DIY balloon flower vase. I'll put that picture up later. Red lentils and spices. And that's it. That's all it is. To make this wonderful pink sausage log. By Ella Vegan. Alright, I'm just going to put that away. And I could possibly compare the sizes of the Decepticons if I needed to. Oh, MAGA Mike. Is it a real scandal, or is it something that they say is a scandal that we haven't proven as a scandal yet? How scandalous. While I'm discussing how actually fucking bad it is. And once this is all said and done, are they going to force that guy to eat shit? Like, I don't know if he'll be able to get a job as a car salesman. They probably would not. Like, bro, you are a liar. From the car salesman. Not to disparage the car salesman.
All right, we have some wild news breaking out in Congress, and I can't think of a story that more perfectly illustrates the way that Republicans in power will use said power to protect men who have committed wrongs against women. In the midst of the Epstein scandal that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Donald Trump fought so hard to cover up, we now have another scandal breaking out as a Republican representative named Tony Gonzalez, who serves the 23rd District of Texas, a Republican.
We've done that. We know they're scumbags. We know it. And we already saw friggin' Lollipop Guild in his voice. Raging. Nick Fuentes is now back in circulation. Because he's leaving behind the MAGAs. He's had it. You guys are too gentle for him. You're too accepting. And that's where he's going to leave it. All right. I think that today's news cycle is pretty dry today. State of the Union, that could be something we do. It may be, I'm probably missing it completely on TV. Let me see if there's a way for me to show it through here. But I mean, it's fucking late. That shit's over. Speaking of, it's probably time for me to get done here, so I'll just get back to some meaningless drivel. Internet killer. Ooh. Godzilla movie marathon? That's worth a look. I swear to gods. Mercury is breathing. Oh no, dude, we gotta get the hot goss. Don Lemon and Jen from I've Had It.
Today I'm here with America's favorite independent journalist and one of my best friends, Don Lemon. Don, how are you? How is life?
Hi, Jennifer Welch. Life is better when I can see you and hear your voice. It's a little crazy, as you know. We discussed a little bit, but it's
All right,
it's
let's get this tiger
I'm doing
done.
okay. How's that?
That's good. Well, listener, as you know, the Trump regime, prosecution that makes absolutely zero sense while ignoring the Epstein files, and they arrested our good friend Don Lemon for doing his job, a journalist, as well as other journalists. Don wasn't the only one. And Kylie put up the headline about his phone. I was told, Don, we couldn't ask you about anything unless it was reported. It says, Defiant Don Lemon says the process is the punishment after lawyers reveal the feds took his phone. Do they still have your phone?
They do. They still have my phone. Yeah. And look, there have been reports on it because the reports say that it's difficult to open, the phones or whatever, get access to the phones. And so I don't know, because I've never tried to get in somebody else's phone, but there's nothing in there that, good. I want my phone back, but what they'll find is that there's nothing in there that really helps them. So I would love to be able to get my phone back, but I would like for them to do it quick, fast, and in a hurry, because I think in the old days, if they took your phone, I don't think people were as used to having their life being on their phones, but my life is on my phone. My work is on my phone. I did a live shot in the snow this morning from a phone that I borrowed. And so I need my phone in order to not just to be able to call my family and my friends and my loved ones, but to conduct my business. It's my livelihood.
They're fucking with Don's business.
Are your lawyers going to be able to get your phone back?
I think so, but do I want it back after that? You know what I mean? And it's just, it's difficult if you're a high-profile person, but especially if you're a journalist, right? There are certain things that you don't want revealed, and I think there's privileged information on my phone, and I have almost everyone who's of importance in the universe in there. From presidents to everybody, to heads of states, and to important actors and actresses and artists and Jen Welch, and I don't want them seeing that. They shouldn't be allowed to see that. It's none of their business. It has nothing to do with what happened in Minnesota.
I can just picture these just gross little MAGAs going all through your phone, and they'll find out the night that you were arrested, I sent you a text that said, "I love you, Dawn." And so that's what they're going to have on us.
They're going to come back and get you.
Okay, let's move on.
What's this code for?
I don't know about you, but I get a lot of, and I know you do too, I get a lot of death threats, hate mail. When I just arrived back in Oklahoma City here from Mexico, I had a letter from somebody wishing death upon me, told me there was anthrax in the letter. And I thought, who am I supposed to report this to? Cash Patel? He's going to give a shit. Who do you report it to?
Oh, you're right about that, because, I still get those things, but when during the first Trump administration, you remember, you watched me, remember they would send pipe bombs to CNN and news organizations. I was in the middle of my show one night and we had to be evacuated. We did the show on the street in front of the CNN studios at Columbus Circle in New York because of threats, bomb threats and death threats. I had security and all those things. And even now, very similar. So who do you report it to? Do I report it to the same people who are going after me?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Who do you report it to?
That's what I was.
You criticized, Jen?
Right. So, I got these horrible, death threat letters, and I thought, well, do I screenshot it and put at Cash Patel? But let's see what Cash Patel, the director of the FBI, let's see what he's up to, how he runs his department. Kylie, play the clip.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. This loser putting somebody's gold medal on. And
stolen valor.
Totally stolen valor. And he's just such a loser. This is a guy who is just juiced up on MAGA and this compensatory narcissism. He feels so insecure about his manliness, about his manhood, that he thinks, well, if I'm director of FBI, then that's going to make me manly. If I go party with the hockey team, then that's going to make me manly. And these people are just so incredibly broken. What's your take on that? What do you think would happen if Obama's FBI director did that?
Oh my God, I said that. Well, not only that, if Obama's FBI director was flying around vacationing with girlfriends on a company jet, right, which, they have access to, they're the head of the FBI, but imagine if that was Christopher Wray doing the same thing. But I also think that when I said stolen valor, they're birds of a feather. I know it's a cliche, and people sort of mimic what happens at the top. Donald Trump wants the woman, and you remember he took her her Nobel Peace Prize, right? And so now he's putting on the same thing, like, oh, someone is putting on a gold medal on him. First of all, I'm happy for the USA hockey team, but I'm like, why are they hanging out with this loser? And who wants to be associated with anybody in this administration right now, especially when you see and what's happening on the streets of America with them, you know, pulling people, yanking people off of the streets, dragging them across the ground, beating up young, you know, women, nursery school teachers, preschool teachers, moms in the carpool line. It's like, who wants to be associated with this administration? If I were on that hockey team, first of all, I can skate, but not that well. But if I were on that hockey team, I'd be like, no thanks to hanging out with Kash Patel or any sort of phone call or going to the White House for Donald Trump. I just wouldn't. But they're all the same thing. They're all the same level of narcissistic. But I called it, when I posted, Jen, I call it classless. Yep. These people have no class. If you're the FBI director, why do you need to be in there doing that? Show some class, a modicum of class. And don't be a hypocrite. They're all hypocrites as well, because he as you know, he criticized Christopher Wray for not even that behavior, you know?
Well, and if you think about it, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who's now left the FBI because it was too hard for him to go work in an office all day, his words, not mine, but they got their attention to Donald Trump because they were laser focused on the Epstein files. Laser focused.
They were conspiracy theorists who spouted off on a microphone conspiracy theories.
And then they get inside the Death Star and they realize, oh shit, the call is coming from inside the house.
Yep.
And so he was so critical of FBI, which I think, you know, this is a free country. You can be critical if you're a podcaster, you can be critical of governmental agencies. But here he is. This is the thing, not only are these people classless, they're breathtaking hypocrites. The hypocrisy is overwhelming. Here he is, Don, talking about, before he was FBI director, about directors using the private planes for personal use. Play the clip.
And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation.
Okay.
Maybe we ground that.
Have you seen the reports of him? He's been criticized for flying his girlfriend around and going to WWE events and other sporting events and taking vacations with a company jet. They're just so full of hypocrisy and they can't even see it. And the MAGAs that make excuses for them and still support them, I don't get it. I said the only difference between Donald Trump and Jim Jones is that Donald Trump would charge you for the Kool-Aid.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It is. Kash Patel, to me, like, here's a guy who really complained about everything that clearly he was jealous of, and he doesn't have the skill set, the discipline to do this. Not only is he flying his girlfriend around on the PJ so she'll stay with him, because you can see there's an attractiveness deficit in the two of them. But I mean, I'm just pointing out the obvious. But he also has FBI agents drive her drunk ass and her girlfriend's drunk asses home from bars. He has FBI agents do this. And it's just, what it boils down to, Don, is that these people believe in nothing. They believe in nothing. They're hollow. And so as MAGA is starting the sunset, you know, sundowner hour with his dementia starting to happen, I've spoken to some scholars on the pod that say, you know, first you have the strong man and they represent this toxic style of masculinity. But when the strong man becomes frail and weak, there's fissures in the personality cult. And here's Trump today at a press conference, and just tell me what in the dementia you think of this. Play the clip.
He's not too good, but we're having a massive snowstorm right now, and I've heard that he's asked people to come out and help shovel the snow. Okay, so you get a shovel and you start shoveling, right? What the hell? You're not going to help too much, but you can help. And hello, darling, how are you? No, right behind you. Look, my friend, right? Are you okay? Yes, you. Are you okay? Are you okay?
The fuck is all that?
Good. Are your eyes okay? I gave her money to get her eyes fixed. A lot of money to get her eyes fixed. That doctor ripped me off, but that's okay.
Oh my God! As you know, also at that press conference, he was talking about polls and fake polls, and I'm not, underwater. He said they're saying that I'm at 40%. I'm way higher than 40%. This is the man who I would walk into an interview with him at Trump Tower or wherever it was, and he would bring the polls to me, the ones that were favorable. And I would say, well, what about these? And it's like, and so he talked about that, and then he went from that to, he's talking about Zoran Mamdani here in New York, asking New Yorkers to come out and shovel. And he would offer them $20 an hour. What's wrong with that? Everyone knows that most people in big city, if you want to lose your mayoralship, what do? Don't plow the streets. Don't shovel the sidewalks. And so he's trying to get it, fixed and shoveled the best way that he can. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Shit,
so I don't know why he's criticizing Zoran Mamdani for that. And then to go on and talk about that woman, it's like, just have some self-awareness and maybe talk to this woman afterwards. And then do you have to say, I gave a lot of money to you to have and then it's like, ugh, God, he's addled. He really is.
It really is.
Can someone write a book, Jen, about that?
Oh, yeah. Somebody should write a book about that because it's far worse than anything I've ever seen on the national stage. But speaking of the polls, he said he was at 40%. Well, Fox Business says, hold my beer. Put up this poll, Kylie. Here we go.
Ooh.
Washington Post, 34%. Jeff Bezos' paper. On Fox Business, 34%.
Now, on Fox Business, is he saying Fox Business is fake? Now, I'm sure he's saying, he loves Fox News. He loves you. He loves anybody or anything until it doesn't love him. And not even doesn't love him until it tells the truth about him. And then he doesn't love it so much. And 34%, I'm surprised that it's still 34%. And it's not 34% of Americans. It's 34% of the electorate. And that's far less than 34% of the country. So MAGA is not, you tell me this all the time, I think you do. MAGA is not as big as you think it is. It is just a small number of it's either uninformed people, small number of mostly uninformed people who are very loud, or a smaller number of very rich people who have microphones and big platforms and lots of money to be able to fund him because he's a grifter and they want to make more money, so they're on his side. So that is the MAGA, that's the MAGA votership or viewership or whatever it is that you want to call it, movement right there. Is those two, mainly those two groups of people.
All right, let's talk about shifting gears, the resistance.
Or maybe just
so we have a new No Kings March coming up. I want to go with you in New York. I know you'll probably be covering it live. We have the Democratic establishment, and then we have the base. And it seems like these two things are not simpatico right now. It seems like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are kind of playing status quo politics, and it seems like the base of the Democratic Party is going, God damn it, just fight for us. It seems very out of sync. Are you picking up that vibe and that disparity from the leaders versus the voters?
I am. Look, I do think the leaders are trying, but I don't know if their efforts are if they're doing it properly. I give them an A for effort for trying. However, I have been saying for the longest time that the energy and the movement is in the Democratic Party, that's with the progressive side of the party. That's with the Mamdani side of the party. That's with the AOC side of the party. That's with the Jasmine Crockett side of the party. And it's not that these folks are, far left liberals where they're asking for things that are unreasonable. They're asking people to start leaning into cleaner, renewable energy, which is, I think, a pretty moderate position to have and a pretty logical position to have, especially the time that we're in, because we're never going to go back to coal mines. This is not what we do. Unless they're going to start making these things out of coal, we're not going back to that. And they're asking for universal health care, for people to have affordable health care in this country. That's not a radical position to have.
No.
And even the right wants that. And they're asking for people to have a living wage. That's not a radical thing to ask for in this time, in this day and age. And I think people have realized that because after we have gone so far to the right. So I think the energy is on the progressive side, younger people with newer, fresher ideas And I don't know if the leadership quite understands that. And
Nope.
Jen, I think this, and I think you'll agree with this. You can tell me if you don't. They don't want the respectability politics anymore. They don't want to sit around and say, this is how we do it, and this is the rules, whatever, because we're not operating in roles anymore. People want now, like the state Senate candidate in Illinois with the ad that says, have you seen the fuck Trump ad that she gave? Where she goes, she has constituents and they say, fuck Trump. And it's like, you know, a man in a diner. And it's like, fuck Trump. And it's like a lady who's like a housewife. And it's like, fuck Trump, another lady who's sitting in, you know, whatever, and like a normal person. And then she comes on, the candidate comes on and she goes, they said it, I didn't. And then at the end, everyone, they're like, yeah, fuck Trump. So people want that. Like, they want someone to say, fuck Trump, stop this fucking bullshit, stop it, and stop sitting around and being like, you know, we've got to be so pulled, you know, so sort of pulled up and, you know, buttoned up. And you know what I'm saying? They don't want that. And I think that's what the leadership still thinks.
I completely agree with you. I think the base has moved away from establishment politics, and it makes the leaders that are trying to preserve it feel somewhat conservative because they're preservationists, because they're preserving something. And this is what makes me crazy, Don. You're preserving a method that we lost
like a bunch of fucking leg
to a
numbers.
Fucking dipshit. I mean, we lost a presidential campaign to a convicted felon. And so it's really
I think we'll clip that there. Clip that there. Because I'm honestly pretty good with my tiger. And I'm going to get a copyright strike like a motherfucker. But I'll just work on my tiger for a few more minutes because it is midnight. And, you know, bed is calling. Which every now and then we do got to go to bed. Yeah, I like my tiger. He came out pretty good. And it's probably a female tiger. But, you know, I'm one of those assholes. Think everything violent and powerful is male. Not so. Not so. good little night of sketching. Every now and then this has to be done to keep the skills nice and sharp, not necessarily the memory. I'll give that a little bit of a cleaning. So yeah, just a little bit of practice. And it's been quite a while since I've used these white pens. So I think they've probably got a they really do not want to work. Holy smokes, this pen, is it dried out? That's kind of hard to believe. Yeah, I think it actually might be. Because this one's working pretty good. That's not going to do good for a whisker. We'll go to the brushy. Because this guy, it's not as bright, but it is a little more consistent. It's actually not even good at all. Shit. All my white pens are falling apart. They don't want to work no more. Oh, well, this one started to work anyway. I'm going to have to get some black jelly rolls so that I can have equally small lines. Well, actually this tip here should work pretty good. Evil fucking cat. Alright. We're gonna call it. Because my cat, my tiger, he looks like he needs a rest too. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it. unzipping it up. Make arrangements for tomorrow. Yeah, if anybody was watching, I do appreciate it. Hope that if you feel like reaching out, you do reach out. If I missed anybody's comments, thank you for commenting. I do appreciate it. Like I said, upcoming, there's going to be more painting. I think I'm going to make some of this regular drawing a part of this, though, because I think it's a good thing to show returning to the fundamentals. Even just some figure drawing. Some basic breakdowns of cartoonings. And, I mean, that'll be some basic, very basic stuff. You know, perspective, doing kind of a wireframe figure, and drawing people in motion with, you know, not even necessarily action poses, just kind of everyday poses too. A lot of people miss that, but if you can, not necessarily master, but if you can make it feel convincing, you know, just with a series of lines that there's weight, there's volume, there is mass to what you're doing. You know, it's going to feel kind of like it's living and breathing. Kind of like old Tiger Guy here. Not so much these fighters. I'm still kind of iffy about the fighters because that does look painful. The ribs are fucking, they got xylophoned on that shit. Yeah. But I will be back in a day or two. Gonna start on, like I said, the new projects, but I think I'm gonna start off with warm-ups from here. And I might, you know, start off with a video game, dramatic newsreel, something. If you got feedback, let me know. If you got questions, let me know. Suggestions, challenges, whatever it is. But if you were here tonight, I do appreciate it once again. And until next time, thanks a lot, and you guys stay safe.